And here we go again. Another day, and with every new day comes a new round of Battle of Nimbus Station Hardcore. Yeah. I literally just uploaded the one from yesterday. Um, well, no, I uploaded that. I started uploading that ages. I started uploading that yesterday. I guess yesterday doesn't really count as ages ago. Um, anyway, yeah. Just got out of a physics competition I was doing with some friends, and that was enjoyable. It's good fun. Um, may have messed up the algebra near the start of one of the questions, but we did catch that, find it. Already off to a slow start, but it's fine because we don't care about speed. Dislike how long it took that one guy to turn around. Maybe their animation just takes that long. I've never really processed their turning animation before, if I'm honest. Ah, so this is how I die. I always wondered how it would occur. Really? Well, that is possibly the least efficient round one I have done in a while. And that was attempting to do it quite quickly. There was nothing about that which actually went to plan. Yeah, let's go. Gonna hope no connectivity issues today, and see. Gonna hope we can get to Kinga Hurl. I mean, obviously, I'm always hoping we can get to Kinga Hurl, but recently it's kind of become the case there's less and less reason why we shouldn't. Like yesterday, realistically, I should have gotten to Kinga Hurl probably multiple times. But it's good because it's good. Doesn't matter every time I fail. I'm just gaining a little bit more information. And realistically, what I've now learnt from having quite a few runs die to pirates is I've just got to be a lot more careful around pirates. I didn't like they were not high on my list of threats, and in general they shouldn't be. In general, I should always be more or less completely safe from them. But well, I guess I'm using in general as as most people do rather than as a physicist. From a physics or maths perspective, it's not in general. In general, I should be scared of them. From a for an average like for an average user of the word general, it's probably I always find that really interesting how general means two completely different things in physics and maths and stuff like that versus in day-to-day life. Like normally, when I say general, I mean most of the time. Um, and I'm kind of saying that to mean, well, yeah, most of the time this will happen. You almost accept the fact that it doesn't happen all the time, or whatever you're saying isn't true all of the time. But generally it holds. Whereas, yeah, in physics and maths, it's the exact opposite. It's not. Yeah, it doesn't. You're specific. Like normally, you're specifically accepting that it doesn't hold all the time, whereas in physics and maths, when you say something holds generally, you are guaranteeing that it holds literally all the time in any case anyone can ever come up with. Which is more or less. It's interesting because like the two words are obviously fairly linked, but it's interesting how, or like it's obvious to see how one usage arose from the other, but it's interesting to see how two usages which are more or less completely different did arise from like obviously an identical word, just used in two different ways. And this is where we accept aggroing a few things. As I was concerned I would aggro up the Stromling there, so didn't do that. I was quite happy about that. Sorry, aggro. When I say aggro the Stromling, I don't mean aggro, I mean that auto-aim would target the Stromling. I was concerned about that, and that did not happen, so that's always nice. Like to see that. And yes, I think that's something I kind of need to incorporate into my strategies, which is the fact that you're more likely to trigger the attack I'm interested in, the lunge attack, if you run straight up close to the Dark Spiderling to begin with. Because a lot of time I spend fighting Dark Spiderlings is me trying to trigger the particular attack. Like obviously it's not all of the time, but I do spend a fair amount of time on that. So, if possible, always nice to come off an improved method. Hello there. Let's go. So yeah, this is... Do I want to have that guy aggroed on me? I think. Let's give this a go. Heal. Wow. This is sub-ideal. There we are. Not exactly the smoothest of starts, but I knew I was taking a bit of a risk. I was wondering if I could pull it off. Turns out I can, more or less. Emphasis on the more or less. Yeah, like the run is currently at the stage where like in terms of like my development and practicing it and everything, where I have ways of smashing everything up to and arguably including Kinga Hurl. So it's really just a case of pulling all of it off in a row, which is really non-trivial. Like there's rather a lot of gameplay that I have to do pretty well in order to reach that stage safely. Well, just to reach that stage. I guess I don't need to reach that stage safely. If I reach it unsafely but still make it there, you know. Still made it. Oh no, I'm dead. Fairness lag spike, but I should have... I realised like a second too late that the web attack had dealt damage. That's annoying, because I got quite lucky with where I was on my attack cycle, or in the loop, with when that dealt damage. Had it dealt damage at another time, had it dealt damage at the other points in the cycle, I wouldn't have just healed up and I would have died there. There would be nothing I could have done. So it's a little bit annoying / concerning. Zero speed strats, still faster than last time. Zero speed strats plus a sloppy end. Wow. Not a fast first round, not a bad second round. It's not a 115. And not that 115 is even like high tier, but it's not bad. The reason why it was fine, and in fact a good idea for me to do that, was because in running past all of them, I triggered an attack from all of them, and so all but one of those stronglings there were stunned. Reasonable wave 4. Not incredible, but not bad. That was some low-tier gameplay from me, but we can work with that. Wow, this is really the wrong side to run to for safety. Oh, no, that was working a little bit better. Just check something briefly. Okay, good. Let's go. This is the run straight in. Oh, that's quite funny, actually. So what happened there was I ran in too quickly. I was not paying attention. I should have died there. Well, I mean, I shouldn't have because it had 2 health left, but I didn't. And so that technically was safe, but I didn't know that it had 2 health left. And also, that's not 100% guaranteed to be safe. I think it virtually is, but it isn't like completely guaranteed. So yeah, in conclusion, I think I really did deserve to die. It was a bad play by me. So the clear out begins. So I always want to give myself as much space as possible to fight the mechs. Boing. Hello. Hello as well. Okay, sighing ninja noises. That's better. The last one's a little bit interesting, actually. So I didn't get hit. I didn't get damaged by the attack. There. Wow, my depth perception was just incredibly off there. Yeah, I didn't get hit by that attack, and normally I like graze the attacks when we get a projectile bounce, but that one actually that hit something that wasn't me. And still, we still got a solid projectile. Oh yes, the most exciting and most prestigious part of the physics competition we're in. That's yet to come. We've completed the actual competition, but tonight is where everything begins to get serious. Because tonight we have the Minecraft race to be the first to beat the Enter Dragon. They set up a server. We all sprint for it. Last time we were part of the team who explored and quickly, and by quickly I mean like took us ages, found the stronghold. This time maybe one of us will be the one to deal that final long sought after blow. I seem to remember we like all tried speedrunning strats and like basically no one could pull it off. Like everyone was trying to do the classic, hey yes, I will fight the Ender Dragon with beds. And like none of us really succeeded. It was good fun though. It's good fun. The vibes were exquisite. Dislike that slight lag spike there, but oh well. Not much I can do about that. Wow, I'm bad. There was twice there that I mistimed my first attack and that it completely missed. Didn't make much difference, but interesting there. Okay. Yeah. It's interesting. Hey, let's go. The one round I'm more or less guaranteed to not need a healing kit on. When I say more or less, I mean like completely. Because if I get hit, I lose. So. Let's get back. Oh, that was close. Don't like that. Oh, lag. Oh, no, I don't like that at all. I'd far prefer to die to me being an idiot. Well, I'm glad I didn't attack there. I didn't really process exactly what was going on correctly. Oh, that was too close. That I basically jumped over his head. Actually, I guess it would be fairly precise, but there is technically a chance that what could happen there is I could actually land on top of... I could be mid-jump, and if I didn't attack soon enough, then I could land temporarily on top of Merkel Blotch's head and trigger the ground attack, and that would stop my momentum and cause him to hit me. I believe that is technically possible. Yeah, would not be easy to achieve. Like enemies are quite difficult to land on, just in general. I think that the dev team made like the top of their hitboxes particularly sharp. However, you can use the same. Well, yeah, and the fact they hit you. I'm not actually certain what the top of the hitboxes look like, and it actually doesn't matter because you've got your standard arguments regarding. Let's go here. I'm gonna aggro the guy to this guy's left. That's fine. I'm gonna make sure I'm on full health at all times whilst fighting strongly pirates. Now, full health isn't necessary, but 3 health is, and I think that's going to be my rule from now on. I used to kind of assume I could get away with not being on it, but nah, it seems like I should play it safe and always be on 3 health. Where's the Admiral? Oh, it's behind there. Okay. Interesting timing for my first attack there, but it all worked out. Now we come back around. Again, still safe. And as always, oh, hello. Hello there. As always, just clearing out space so that we don't get killed by auto-aim That is something I can definitely see happening. Although in fairness, normally if I'm in a position where I could get killed by auto aim, it is because I've done something wrong. No. Yeah. This is where I'm going to learn, and I'm going to save fully. It's 2 of them, but they can technically. I should treat 2 of these guys in the same way I treat 2 Hammerstromlings. They're obviously like, if I mess up, the risks are far lower with those guys, but in principle, just oh, sorry, what would happen if everything went wrong is yeah, I would still lose the game, whether it be those or whether it be Hammerstromlings, but the odds of it actually going that badly wrong are much lower with those guys than they are with Hammerstromlings, and this is not as far as I would have liked to have gotten. But that I can work with that. Up. And yeah, now I've just got the challenge of dealing with being fired on by lots of things at once, but that's alright. There we are. Where do we have? We've got 4 those guys there. Okay, we've actually got a fairly nice distribution of them there. Yeah, that's actually a fairly clean round 10. I can live with that. Hello, where did you come from? Again, learning from past mistakes. Seems in theory to selectively go for the one which has less health, but when they're like this, that's not really a choice. Oh, but I can do this now. I don't know if that was sufficiently safe. I don't think I could have been killed with that. But because I should have constantly been stun locking one from the point that I maybe that was still unsafe. Because maybe the first one could have stunned me and that could have given time for the second one to attack me. So I think I shouldn't have done that. It turned out alright, but the more runs I do here, the more it's going to help to have my Stromling Pirates technique be relatively good. Just because the more runs I do, the more runs I will lose to it being bad. And I thought it makes sense to put some time into getting the chances a little bit better. It's the most cursed fight, but just get the one. Good, it's more or less as intended. Alright, and from this round onwards, gameplay kind of becomes relatively standard. Up to Kinga Hurl. Whether or not that means I can pull it off is quite another question, but it's very much the same procedure over and over again. Honestly, I should be less concerned about these things than I am. Attacking. Don't think I've gone close enough to aggro the other one, but it's worth that quick turnaround to check, because if I've yet to die to an Admiral in any of these attempts. Yeah. And in theory I never should, because they are one of the easiest enemies to save. Really, really... Oh, great. Spiderling on me, so this will risk aggroing an extra mech, but I think I've got to go for it just to de-aggro the Spiderling. Spiderling is now de-aggroed. Got a couple of pirates. More pirates than I would like, actually, so... Oh, but... no mechs. Which makes this, in theory, more or less free. Just get rid of that. Want room to maneuver. I'd also quite like to be able to see sometimes the camera really attempts to impinge upon. That's bad. Realised quickly enough though, so yeah, I dislike where this pole is. It's very inconvenient. Ooh, bad. When you mix it up and go the other way, but to confuse the enemies, but you also confuse yourself. There. Alright, that's thoroughly safe. Was it the most efficient it could have been? No. Did it work? Yes. So do I care that it wasn't the most efficient it could have been? Heck no. So I could probably fight off another enemy in the time it's going to take for that guy to make it out of his friend's aggro range. Can I... Oh, I can just do this. Because the de-aggro range is much, much larger. So yeah, there we are. I was wondering if I could aggro one without aggroing the other, and it might have been possible, but there was no reason to really try. What do we have over there? Okay, I think I'm going to start top and move down. Again, I can pull exactly the same strategy, but I don't need to, because aggro is only the one, which is good. Oh no, I messed that up. There we are. I am susceptible to lag at the moment. If lag happens on either of the web attacks, I am dead. So I've just got to hope it doesn't. If there's a risk of lag, maybe I should start safing those. Yeah, maybe I should start safing the finishers a little bit more than I am. Hello there. Just because, yeah, if the game doesn't think the thing's been smashed, I guess the game doesn't think the thing's been smashed, the game thinks I'm still standing in front of it anyway, and therefore it doesn't make a difference if I pull back. And yeah, so this is where a lot of the time comes in, because these late rounds I can pull off pretty much consistently, but they just take a little while. Didn't realise that guy was going to be there, but doesn't make too much difference. I could have healed up there. This, maybe I should have, but I decided it wasn't really worth it, because I knew the strongling would be stun locked. Interesting. Oh, I see. See what happens. Okay. That's good enough. And that was a well-timed start to the cherries. So that's good. Speaking of, let's, before the next round, give myself some. I'm going to be interested to see how many I would have needed. Oh, you're kidding me. I'm also quite interested to see how much money, by the time I get out of this, how much money I would have made. So I'm only going to get rid of this stuff, which is genuinely very cheap. But fortunately, that's most of the stuff, because the only things I get are from beating Murgle Blotch. Well, really, there are a couple of... You can tell which ones of these are achievement items. Good, might as well save that. Can't hurt. Okay, let's give myself a few more. So I've made at least 5 spots there. Yeah, okay. Does this now cause a... Yes, okay. I think it's the fact that I've added all of those to my inventory that now causes me to get a lag spike whenever I eat one, which is annoying, but I can work with it. My sense for where I can safely stand has improved, but I'm also concerned that will one day get me killed. That is thinking I can stand somewhere and actually... Because, like, my sense of where I can... Like, I'm pushing up on the lower bound of where I can stand, but I have yet to hit it. And at some point I will. And that will get me killed. Yeah, that was good use. So move back in this direction. It shouldn't ever, because really it's just me trying to go faster than I actually need to. It does that, but... The upside is my aim for this run, ideally, will be to get Kinga Hurl. The upside is that as long as I'm relatively... Well, is that Kinga Hurl, I don't need to... It's alright. Wait, what just happened? Okay. Okay. I'm really confused. Oh, I was confused as to where I got the extra health from. Completely forgetting that I just, smashed a thing that's literally designed to give you health. I was literally just like, nah, this is in my way. But no, of course, that actually does have a purpose. Oh, I wish there was a good way of getting rid of this lag spike. I feel like it's probably to do with all this stuff in my inventory. Certainly. Oh no, bad choice. There we are. Let's go for this. Aggro's that guy, but that's fine. I can de-aggro. Is this far enough to de-aggro it? Do I need to be? Yes. Yes, it was. It was. Okay, let's pull this off. Just need to stay up here for a few seconds, hopefully. That's far enough, and then, yeah, okay, good. Get away, because 3 health is now officially the danger zone. That's bad. Don't like that. Let's get rid of this guy. Ow. Anything aggroed? Nope. Okay. Might as well keep going on my rounds then. what do we want to do? This guy first. That should be how I want to play this. Oh, that would have been the 3 damage attack, and yeah, the lag is annoying. But there's nothing I can do, because the fix for the lag is to switch character, which I can't do, obviously, mid-game. But it's fine. So, really, the question is, because this lag won't play a part in Kinga Hurl. The only question is how long I can go for before this lag does actually affect something. The question is, can I make it through Kinga Hurl without any lag spikes from the server causing problems? That's not a given. Yeah. The issue is my strategy for doing Kinga Hurl well does require that I be relatively close to him at a point when he might attack. Keep it okay. Was concerned about the hammer strolling over there, or the hammer hurl strolling, I should say. Oh, that's exactly why I was concerned. Really mean. Okay, this should no. That works. Wasn't the plan, but it checks out. Right. Note I intentionally waited there a little bit longer than I had to. That was to ensure that basically it's actually possible to be too fast if you just charge in the second the Dark Spiderling shoots you, or like you charge directly in from the second you go in range. Then it is possible to be too fast and to miss out on the cycle. Not what I want. I think I just want to get those guys behind first, and then take this guy out. I forget what round 13's like. Oh, I did only get the one. Both of them started moving at the same time, but that's fine, because one of them was just idling, by the looks of it. Even if I get close enough to aggro the Admiral, which you have to get pretty close to do, I would just de-aggro when I walked away. It's the they have an incredibly small de-aggro distance, such that their aggro. So for almost all enemies in Baton Nimber Station, their de-aggro distance is like significantly larger than their aggro distance, whereas for the Admirals, they're actually about the same. There we are. Could have kept attacking there, but didn't. I still remember one of the first deaths I had on these Hardcore U challenges to a Spiderling was me being like, oh yes, it is out of health, and the Spiderling not in fact being out of health. That was quite funny. Alright, so 2 more rounds before Kinga Hurl, I think. believe Kinga Hurl's 15. And that's not bad. This is more or less first attempt. First a day. Like, I know there was that one attempt before this, but, like, that one wasn't... That loss wasn't really due to a bad decision I made, or bad gameplay on my part. I now don't remember what that loss was. I seem to remember being like, oh yes, lag, but I don't actually remember what happened. So maybe it was. Maybe I've just convinced myself of a falsehood in order to make myself feel better. It would track, not gonna lie. Yeah, so next round we definitely have mechs, if I recall correctly, which means the early part of the fight is a little bit more stressful than the last 2 rounds have been. Because, yeah, mechs are currently the only real challenge for me at the start of a round. I don't have a good way. Okay, this is something I need to come up with at some point. It's a clever way of separating out enemies. It's really, really easy to clump enemies up. And like lots of times that's a good thing. It's a good idea for me to do. But such as when I'm doing, for instance, the standard jump around and lunge methods. But or jump around and kick. Yeah, I keep calling those lunges. I mean the jump attacks, which I think are a combination of kicking and punching. Yeah. Honestly, my character doing that is just incredibly weird. The way it has one leg go around and the other, I don't know. Very strange. Let's get rid of this guy, yeah, and that's fine. I don't think I played that riskily. I did think that through. Whether I had time to think it through fully is another question, but I did consider the risk there. That's not great. Should be able to finish this off before the Admiral gets to me. Ouch. I don't know technically how wide the wedge shape is there. I don't know how much I actually can get away with. Trying to go next. Let's try the same thing over here. Just run directly past this guy. And yes, not too bad. Oof, I nearly ran past the Admiral there. That was less than ideal, but worked out. That was, yeah, not perfect gameplay. I don't think I can de-aggro this guy now. It's annoying. I don't think I can de-aggro him. I think I can just get a good way away. No. Not far enough, apparently. Okay. No, I don't want to do that. Kind of a race against time. Or a race against this guy, I guess. Rather than time. His name might be Tim. Pretend it is. So then that makes me a funny boy who made a funny joke. Yeah. And therefore I have value in our society. And yeah, next round, I forget what it is. Oh yeah, for anyone wondering, I didn't smash that guy because I was trying to lure him over here for safety. One guy in range. Do we have another coming from the other side? Yes, we do. Okay, good. Know what I'm working with. If I move up, I will aggro that guy nearby, but I think that's worth it. Did I go far enough? I went far enough to aggro that guy. Dang it. So hoping I wouldn't, but de-aggroed. Oh, de-aggroed both of them. That's weird. What's going on? How am I being damaged? Hey, that guy I hadn't even seen. Okay. No! Ooh. Okay, I'm still... That was honestly just... I saw something that didn't look right, and I just jumped. I would have died had I not done that. That was quite lucky. Well, not quite lucky. That wasn't... I don't think it was luck per se. I think that was actually a little bit of good gameplay. But that's interesting. I didn't realise that by backing up far enough here, I can actually de-aggro quite a few mechs. Interesting, yeah. I did not expect that. Yeah, 1 or 2? 2, okay. Do this, back up, and circle. And attack. Easy. Let's get this guy without too much difficulty. Might aggro something. No, didn't seem to aggro anything. What do I want to do? Could kite that guy over to me. I see there's not much in between here and there. So what if I just do this? Get out. Well, so ideally don't aggro this. I can literally just pull that guy back over here. There we are. Yeah. I've got that guy as well now. Not ideal. That works out. There we are. Nice. That was reasonably well played, I think. Don't like that animation where the strongly admiral waves its grapnel, I guess, in the air. That scares me. It's like, no, I know you should be stunned right now, but I'm scared you're not. And if you're not stunned, then I am objectively dead. Especially when I attack like that by running up. I honestly... I don't know, I've never like really come close to dying with that, but it still scares me. Honestly, my timing there scared me a little bit. So... But yes, once we've done this, we are at Kinga Hurl with more or less the first run of the day. Not bad for improving consistency. The only issue is that despite the fact this has been, not inefficient, it's still taken me 40 minutes to get this far, which isn't great. Just because that means that to get practice on rounds past Kinga Hurl, I have to dedicate an hour or so. And just in case I've misremembered it, Kinga Hurl's not next round. I'm going to run over here, but I'm fairly certain Kinga Hurl is. Actually, this is a relatively safe corner up there. Just for future reference. But yes, here we are. Okay. And this is the fourth time I've fought Kinga Hurl, I think. Okay, first off, a check. Can I do something a little bit weird? I can practice anything I'd ever want to do. Yes, okay. So, I mean, I would never, ever really want to do this, but that is possible. No, no, no. Oh, dislike that intensely. Okay, yes, from here on in, we simply trigger and maintain the ground pound attacks only. Because being close enough prevents him grabbing a boulder and throwing it. And then yes, this is the most tedious part so far, because there is, to the best of my knowledge... Well, no, okay, I want to, before I do this using, like, potions to up my imagination, I want to have done this at least once without. Just to show that it is possible to do this entire thing with, like, only healing cherries. And okay, I need to learn how many it is, just because I think that'll be nice to have. So 2, 3, 12, 14, 15. Okay, so it's 5 sets, 15 attacks. And knowing that, I can then run away before I need to. Yeah, there's not going to be much interesting commentary throughout this. Because I'm literally just repeatedly punching and running away. Okay, that's good. I lost count / wasn't really counting on that one and still knew when it was, so that's good. So that means I've roughly started counting internally. I think that was 7. Run, run, run. That was... Honestly, it's good that I'm overly scared there. Because if I were not overly scared, that would lead to me doing stupid stuff. Yeah, so I think I got like 21 attacks in, so 7 combos roughly whilst he was asleep, which you can see how much health he has. That's I think just comparing him to other bosses, I know it's probably in the hundreds. So it might take like 20 attempts of getting him down to getting rid of his armor before I actually manage to smash him. I think Butterscorch off the top of my head is 300, maybe it's 500 armor, 300 health. It might be the other way around. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Why have you not jumped up yet then? Okay. But yes, the upside is that each time it becomes a little bit faster because the armor Kinga Hurl regenerates decreases, which, seriously, thanks so much for that, thank God. Like, that if the armor that regenerated didn't go down, this would be so much longer than it is. Like, that's more or less the only thing that makes this somewhat bearable as a fight, is the fact that the armor decreases like 1/n when you've knocked him out 10 times. Yes, I did run away there. There was the risk that something might go wrong somewhere. Just like it did there. That's the second time that's happened, which I find interesting. It always happens shortly after he wakes up. So I can add that in. I can add that into my loop. That's reasonable. Why am I... I think starting a new game was probably a little bit optimistic. Or pessimistic, actually. Then... I guess I'm technically just assuming that I won't get far enough that this will take up much of my time. Wow, how have I not hit any of these attacks yet? Yeah, all right. So, yeah, I just know it seems that me dying there is somewhat correlated with him waking up, because I've only died like those two times really, I think, to Kinga Hurl, and I think they've both been right as he's been waking up. I think I might also have been at a different angle for both of them, and maybe being at that different angle meant I was technically slightly further away, and therefore... No, I don't think that checks out. I think, yeah, it's just I should back off as he wakes up. That seems like more or less the strats. And if I can do that, then hopefully the next time I reach Kinga Hurl, I'll be able to actually beat him. That doesn't seem implausible. Yeah, okay, so strats have been obtained for next time. That's good. Yeah. It is definitely, those deaths to Kinga Hurl are definitely correlated with him waking up. And so if I just jump back at around the time he wakes up, I'll have to dodge one boulder, but that's fine. More than happy dodging boulders. Oh, I should also double check the lag on healing. I should relog. Okay, so I think I will attempt a risky Muggle Blotch here. If that wins, if I win that, then honestly, like, GG, this run deserves to live. If I don't win it, then fair enough, I didn't expect to. And then I've just got to... Yeah, I still think there's a possibility of coming off a Muggle Blotch loop, but I don't think it'll be very easy. Or like, okay, I've technically got a Murgle Blotch loop. A faster Murgle Blotch loop. Because, like, Kinga Hurl, at least, it's fairly clear I'm more or less maxing out on the efficiency that I could get. This is round 4. I had no idea which round I was on. Was very confused by the fact that there were mechs on the outer ring. Ow. Don't. No, bad. Yeah, so let's run up to Murgle Blotch and give that a go. Ouch. Hello. Appreciate that friendly greeting. By friendly greeting, you mean attempted murder? Oh, wow, this is a interesting life choice. There we are. That was a bad timed heal. Or badly timed heal, I guess. Why did I do that? Well, I'm calling it there. Let's relog, see if this fixes the health issue, because if it does, then what I can just, well, I can't guarantee this will be an option later in the game, but at least early on, I can, yeah, if I run out of healing items later in the game, I'll have problems, but I guess I could always increase, I shouldn't really increase the character's inventory space, as this is a legitimate character at the moment. Okay, and let's just test this out quickly. Okay, and that's going to be like that. Well, okay, apparently one of the documents I sent corrupted on submission, which is slightly annoying, but well. Live off that. Because just send it over now. Send it over whilst I'm waiting for the waiting for this timer to elapse. To clarify, I can't click start, so that's why I'm waiting. Given that all I actually wanted to do was that. I think that still lagged. Let's just try it once more. I'm not going for a whole other run. Just want to test if this didn't lag anywhere near as much, I don't think. Anyway, yeah, thank you for watching. Been intro you. I'll see you around. Bye. Can't believe that worked.